Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Could we have a little bit of quietness, please? Can we turn down the verbals down there for a moment? As you all know, in the new year there's a new rule coming in that there'll be no smoking in bars. Now, I have got a new job for the new year. I am going to be checking out the bars in Killorglin to see who is not keeping this law. So I've decided this evening that we're going to start in the fishery on a dummy rum. So we'd ask anybody that's smoking, please vacate the premises now, and will you smoke outside in the rain just to see how many of you will do it. I see 2 fingers up there and there's not a fag between the 2 fingers. Sheila Kennedy, take down those 2 fingers, please. To be serious for a moment, this evening has been planned for a long, long time. It's been planned for a certain gentleman that has given immense pleasure to all of us here this evening, and thousands more besides. He's a gentleman that has kept traditional Irish music alive for decades when it wasn't so cool to do so. He's also a gentleman that has given valuable time, especially to young musicians that have problems or difficulties with tunes. Now, this is coming as a total surprise to this man this evening, but it's long overdue because we have this great tradition in Ireland of honouring people when they're dead. Now, this man is far from dead, thanks be to God. And he's a gentleman that has surpassed all sorts of creams. We watch television and they tell us there's creams for all sorts of things. This man does not need creams to keep wrinkles away because he hasn't got a single wrinkle. And I'm not referring to Miles Coffey. Now, as I say, this evening has been planned for a long, long time, and it's wonderful to see so many people here this evening, especially relations of this gentleman. He's a man that can be described in one word, a true, well, hold on, 2 words, 3 words, a true gentleman. I'd ask you to give a round of applause to Patrick Doyle. Now, I met Patrick Doyle when I was in short pants, and that's a long time ago. But the only time I have seen Patrick Doyle flustered was about 2 months ago when we played in Patrick's pub in Beaufort, because sometimes I might give Patrick an SOS. Mind you, it's not any good time to ring Patrick Doyle before midday. So at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, about 2 o'clock one afternoon, about 2 months ago, I rang Patrick. His secretary answered the phone, Sheila, and she said, just wait a minute, Tom, he's having his boiled egg in bed. And he likes the soft boiled egg, and I don't want him to dribble on his pyjamas. So eventually he came on the phone and said, Patrick, are you free tonight? He said, hold on a moment till I check my diary. So Patrick arrived into Beaufort with us playing, and it was the only time in my life that I saw this man getting flustered, because there was a certain lady dressed in black, And isn't this true now? Sheila, you don't have to listen to this if you don't want to. But Patrick, as you know, gives a marvellous rendition of On Coolin. And it was the only time I saw Patrick vary slightly from the usual rendition of the tune, because he got slightly distracted with this lady in black. And he thought nobody had seen it, but as we came home on our way down through Mainus, Patrick said to me, "Did you notice anything this evening?" And I said, "Not particularly, no, but I did notice you gave a bit of a wobble inside in the middle of On Coolin." "You bastard," he said, "how well you noticed." I think there was a bit of a speed wobble. Now, we have an awful lot of his relations down here this evening, and we have a lot of his neighbours, and it's wonderful to see neighbours and relations coming out. And I'd like to ask a couple of people to speak now that would know Patrick a little bit better than I would. My memories go back to Patrick when we were neighbours in St. James's, and he was a wonderful neighbour. But a man that has played throughout the county with him is Miles Coffey, and I'd like Miles to say a few words on behalf of the musicians of Mid-Kerry that played with Patrick.
Thank you very much, Tom. Well, the first time I met Patrick, believe it or not, was in the middle of the last century. That's a fact. 50 years ago, I started playing with Patrick in Lances. And in those days, life, I suppose, was a lot simpler. The lights just go out.
I'd like to say one few words, lads, prior to making a presentation to Patrick Doyle. I suppose all the different areas of the country, the townlands, the parishes and every neck of the woods in the whole of Ireland, they all have music within their heart and within their soul. And as time goes by, there is always an individual that gets singled out as being the carrier of the great tradition. You have the Patrick O'Keefes and the Willie Clancy's. But in our neck of the woods here, I suppose as a senior citizen who has handed on music for generations and generations to come, milesy and miles of music coffees and all the coffee family. But Patrick Doyle tonight, you have been the inspiration to our youth and towards the future. Patrick Doyle, you have carried the mantle, and in years to come when we are dead and gone, your name will be repeated throughout this parish, throughout the whole of this locality, the whole of Mid-Kerry. You have brought it with you, Patrick Doyle from Erin's Isle. Keep playing the music. And as Danny O'Line says one time behind the Nievra Road, when he was leaning up against the counter, and Patrick was young at the time, and Danny O used to say, when Patrick had landed in the door with his music box, Danny O would say to Patrick, "Paddy Doyle from Erin's Isle, come in, sit down and play the music, old stock." And Patrick, on behalf of the musicians, your friends, and all assembled here tonight, I'll give you a small gift of our appreciation and our pleasures. Patrick, thank you very much, old stock, and long life to you.
We'll have a photograph for the press now. This is, I'm sorry we won't have any page 3 for this. Hey, hold on a second here now.